Hello again everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to feed your plants throughout the entire summer. But before we get into today's video, folks, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Easy way to support the channel, hit the thumbs up. If you guys are interested in supporting our farm, our website link is in the description of this video, along with all of our friends and sponsors products here today. You can find those links in the description of the video. So in other videos, I've talked about a general purpose fertilizer and how that's probably one of the more important fertilizers you can have for your grow. But today I'm going to dive into that and some specific fertilizers for certain plants in your garden or your grow. So let's jump right into it. So before we jump into talking about all these fertilizers, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to have two tips at the end of this video that you're going to want to see. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. So first, I really do want to start with the general purpose fertilizer. Here in front of me is Stonington plant food from coast of Maine. I believe this is a 524, that's the NPK value. For those of you that don't know what the NPK value is, that's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Now when it comes to organic general purpose fertilizer, it's really hard to burn a plant. Some folks have experienced nitrogen burning a plant with synthetic fertilizers such as Miracle-Gro, and there's a whole bunch of others. I'm not calling out Miracle-Gro or anything like that. A lot of folks love it, a lot of folks use it, and it is easy to use. Today I'm going to be focusing all on organic stuff though. But it is hard to burn a plant with general purpose fertilizer that is organic. You can, however, throw off the pH balance of soil, so you do have to be somewhat mindful, but this bag can feed your plants for the entire summer depending on the size of your grow, and you'll still have great results. Let's say you've got a lot of plants that love calcium, that love phosphorus, that need some nitrogen. One of my favorite, and it's pretty close to a general purpose fertilizer because a lot of vegetable garden plants really love it. A lot of the crops that we grow here really love it. And that is fish bone meal from coast of Maine. Now, why is fish bone meal so awesome? Well, first of all, if you grow regular tomatoes, they need a lot of calcium. One of the things I hear from friends and family and folks on the channel, I hear a lot about their tomatoes not doing well, having bottom rot or being a little deformed. A lot of that has to do with calcium. Some of it has to do with overwatering. This will provide so much calcium, and it has a fantastic NPK value. Now, it doesn't really have any potassium in it, but it has a ton of phosphorus and a ton of nitrogen for it. So it is a 513-0. So it's got the same amount of nitrogen as the Stonington plant food here. It's got way more phosphorus, but it doesn't have any potassium. But one micronutrient that I really want to focus on is calcium. This has 18% calcium, and 18% calcium for a whole host of plants is fantastic. It's a micronutrient that is often overlooked and can really make or break a grow. So check out fish bone meal if you guys have a lot of calcium loving plants. Also, with the amount of phosphorus in this, you will get a lot more blooms, a lot more bud spots. You know, for our crop that we grow, that's really important. And you'll see this come around sometime in the middle of July, but you can start feeding it to them now and put that phosphorus into the soil that you're growing them in. Another one of my favorites is, of course, the lobster meal. This is more of a nitrogen focused fertilizer. It's also slightly basic, so if you have acidic soil, instead of using lime, you can use lobster. It's not extremely basic, but you could overuse it. I actually have done that in the past on my own fault, and I had to bring the acidity of the soil back up a little bit. But it's not a very common problem unless you overuse this. So I believe this is a 620, and it's got 8% calcium. So not as much calcium as the fish bone meal, but still a significant amount of calcium for an organic fertilizer. This is called leafing and greening from coast of Maine. The reason being is early on when the plants are small, you really want them to explode and grow, have that vigorous growth. This is something I always put down. That's why you see lobster compost in our grow, and that's why you see lobster everywhere early on in the spring, because I really want to get the plants a really good head start. Now let's talk micronutrients here for a second as we kind of get into some more specific stuff. So what you've just seen is mostly general purpose fertilizers. You know, the lobster, great for leafing and greening. The fish bone meal is fantastic for buds and blooms and of course calcium for those tomatoes and calcium loving plants. And then you saw Stonington, which is a general purpose fertilizer itself. But this kelp is a micronutrient. It doesn't really have an NPK value. The NPK value is a 101 and it's got 1% calcium. But what kelp does bring is a host of micronutrients. It also breaks down in the soil and creates more nitrogen as time goes on. It's a very slow release. So one of the things I do love about kelp is it really just helps the plant's root development, helps the plant's overall health. One thing you may have seen on the channel is I spray a lot of my plants with kelp, liquid kelp. I don't believe Coast of Maine makes that anymore, but I do have some here. Other manufacturers do make liquid kelp. If you guys live in a high heat environment like we do here in Virginia in July and August, this is something I highly recommend for all plants. It really reduces heat stress on plants. I've noticed it night and day difference from a really extreme hot day, spray them in the evening, the next morning they look like they're ready and raring to go. When we get those massive heat waves in July and August, I will definitely be breaking out my liquid kelp. But other manufacturers do make this. If you can't get it from Coast of Maine, pretty easy, simple Google search, just look up liquid kelp. Liquid squid is something from Coast of Maine they still make. It has a 230 NPK value, so it's got a little bit of nitrogen, a little bit of phosphorus, and no potassium. And that's something you really need to pay attention to with a lot of this stuff. It doesn't have a lot of potassium. Potash is a really easy way to add potassium to anything that you have that loves potassium. That'll be in a different video, folks, but I really do want to make sure that I talk about potassium. It is important throughout the grow. But here's liquid squid. If you guys are looking for more of a liquid fertilizer, this is how you can start with that. One of the other things too is with all these granule fertilizers as well, you can make compost tea. I'll leave the video up here where I make compost tea. Check it out. It's really easy. If you guys live in a water restricted area, not like here in Virginia where it rains almost on a weekly basis, definitely check it out. That way you can do two things at once. You can water your plants and you can feed them. For a lot of this stuff though, I like to just top dress right around the plant, let Mother Nature do the work. It is so easy to do. And at the end of the video, if you stay with me, I'm going to show you exactly how I top dress these plants. So now we're going to talk some seriously micronutrients. This is where we start getting into a more of an advanced level of gardening and growing. And right here is worm castings. Now these are becoming extremely popular even for novice growers because it's really starting to show how much help this provides the plant. And you guys check out this video right here where we put worm castings into our entire grow. Check it out if you guys want more of a description about why we're adding worm castings to our grow. But you can get a bag like this from our friends at Simple Grow for not much money, and it adds so many benefits to your grow. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how we add all this stuff, but I'm also going to show you my two favorite things that you probably should get no matter what if you're on a budget. So worm castings bring a ton of micronutrients. They bring nitrogen, they retain water, they hold in a lot of the nutrients already in the soil. These things are black gold. That's what most gardeners and growers call it. It is not an understatement. If you want to be a serious grower in soil, worm castings is something you gotta have, or at least you gotta try it to see for yourself. Now, this is again some more advanced stuff, but it's very important, and you will notice a significant difference in your grow once you get to this point. Now this is a microbe builder, both a liquid form and a powder form. This has mycorrhizin in it, so does this. And they kind of gave me a little pamphlet about it, but I'm going to just kind of go over what this does. But if you guys order it from Grassroots, I believe they will send you this little pamphlet kind of explaining how to feed your plants with microbes. I know you guys have seen me use microbes in our indoor grows if you guys have been hanging around the channel for a while, but I really want to talk about what this can provide for your soil. You know, if you've already added worm castings and then you add this, look out. You're going to have quite the microbiome going on in your soil. It's going to be incredible how much stuff is going to be going. You're going to see fungi, you're going to see root development go crazy. A lot of this stuff is under the surface. You really don't see a lot of what microbes do until you start seeing the plant respond, which can be 2 weeks. So you got to give this stuff a little bit of time to kind of take root and build. This is a living thing, so it does take a while to just kind of grow and help the plant. A lot of folks give up on microbes because they don't see immediate results. I'm telling you, if you give this stuff 2 weeks, 10 days, you will see a significant difference. If you guys have hung around the video long enough, let me show you my 2 must-haves going forward for your summertime feedings. And then I'm going to show you exactly how I top dress all these plants. So my number 1 must-have is going to be buds and blooms going forward for the summer, because it covers so many bases. It's got the 5 for the nitrogen level, so that's your NPK. Once again, it's got a 5-13-0, 18% calcium. This covers probably 70 to 65% of plants, and it will do fantastic things for pretty much everything you put it around. One thing I wouldn't recommend it for is potatoes. They don't like this high calcium stuff, but tomatoes, peppers, with the amount of phosphorus, the crop that we grow here, they all love it. They've all responded well to it, and I think this is a must-have going forward into the summer. The other must-have is gonna be Simple Grow worm casting. You guys, this stuff will do it all on its own. It will build your microbes up. It will feed your plant. It will retain the stuff you put in the soil. It really, really will blow you away how awesome worm castings are. Of course, if money isn't an issue, I'd recommend all of them, but for folks on a budget, these are my top 2 recommendations for going forward into the summer. Once we get closer to late summer, I'll probably do another video like this, kind of honing in on what you should be planting. But right now, as we get into the midsummer, you're gonna be wanting to put that phosphorus down, more bud spots, more blooms. This is when you start getting ready for your harvest. You should already be in your veg stage, and you should already be ready to rock and roll. And for a bonus 3 items, I'm gonna give you kelp meal is a great thing to have. A microbe is a great thing to have. But if you all are on a budget, and I completely understand in today's world, a general purpose fertilizer like Stonington Plant Food is gonna feed your plants. You're gonna get a fantastic result. So as much as I would love for you guys to just be extremely advanced growers, some folks are on a budget, and I completely understand. This will cover all your bases. It's got an NPK value that's very well balanced and will feed your plants throughout the entire summer. But now, I'm gonna show you how to top dress the plants and how you can feed them with all these awesome things that we have. So let's go do it. So before we close out the video, I'm gonna show you how I like to top dress my plants. So first thing I do is I take my hand and I really just get in there and scratch the surface of the dirt, kind of make it just a little bit more porous. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you definitely want to scratch the surface of the dirt. Then we'll be taking some plant food. Gonna open it on up, and then I'm just gonna shake a bunch of it on the surface here, and I'm gonna scratch it right in. So folks, that's how you top dress your plants. Now, depending on the size of the plant, you could do a 1/4 cup up to a half or even a full cup, depending on how big the plant is. Again, really hard to burn with organic. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me. You can find all my information down in the description of the video, Facebook, Instagram, and of course my email. You can find all of today's video sponsors, Coast of Maine, Simple Grow, and Grassroots, down there as well. But I hope you all stay happy, healthy, and I will see you in another video.